Hey everyone, you guys seem to like my video on the heroes and villains of the Raimi Spider-Man universe, so I thought I'd do a follow-up and talk about the villains of the Amazing Spider-Man universe. I'll list them all in this video. So of course we have the Lizard, Green Goblin, this time being Harry Osborn, Electro, and Rhino. But if you watch closely towards the end of the movie, when Harry's associate is walking through Oscorp's basement, you can pretty clearly see the armor of both Vulture and Dr. Octopus also. Some of you may know Green Goblin and Rhino were meant to return for a sequel where they, along with Vulture and Dr. Octopus, were supposed to return to form the Sinister Six. The missing two members of this team would have been Mysterio and Kraven, who were both hinted at in the film's credits. This would have been close to the comic's original Sinister Six lineup, only with Green Goblin and Rhino replacing Sandman and Electro. Probably because Sandman had already recently appeared in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 and Electro already had died. These six would eventually fight Spider-Man, but before that happened, they would have gotten their own spin-off where they all got together for the first time. Other spin-offs were in development at this time too, as Sony was planning their own cinematic universe based around the Spider-Man character. This was of course inspired by Marvel, which a few studios were attempting to copycat around this time, and they would later attempt again around the late 2010s and 2020s. Some of you might remember before The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, there was promotional material showing the Venom symbiote in the basement scene in place of Vulture's wings. Well, they had plans to use Venom in a future movie, but they decided against using him in the Sinister Six. They wanted to give him his own spin-off movie. That's right, long before the 2018 movie came out. They had been planning the Venom spin-off for a long time. And at one point, they were planning to set it in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. Carnage was supposed to appear in a post-credit scene, and Spider-Man would later team up with Venom to fight him. You may remember the man played by B.J. Novak, who forces Max to stay late to check the power lines. His name is Alistair Smythe, and in the comics he's known for sending an army of Spider Slayers after Spider-Man. Many of you remember Felicia Hardy appearing in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, portrayed by Felicity Jones. She was intended to return as the Black Cat in future installments. It's rumored she would have had her own spin-off movie also, and according to the IMDb page, before the movie was cut down due to time restraints, it was hinted she would have had a romantic relationship with Harry. But this, of course, is nowhere to be seen in the film. If you've ever wondered about the man in the shadows from the end of the film, who first appeared in the first movie visiting Curt Connors in prison, his name is Gustav Fierce, otherwise known as the Gentleman, who in the novel Spider-Man, The Gathering of the Sinister Six, was the mastermind behind forming the Sinister Six. If you watch closely during the scene where Harry looks through the Oscorp archives, you can see references to other villains such as Venom and the Lizard, and Dr. Michael Morbius, who is, of course, Morbius, the living vampire. There was also an idea in motion to resurrect Norman Osborn from the dead to become Green Goblin. If you watch closely, you might see Oscorp taking Norman's head away to be cryogenically frozen. Well, there's a deleted scene towards the end of the film where Gustav Fierce approaches Norman Osborn's frozen head and says, "Wake up, old friend." Eventually, there was going to be a movie featuring Carnage, but Spider-Man wouldn't fight him alone. After the Venom, Black Cat, and Spider-Man 2099 spin-offs release, Spider-Man would team up with those three to fight him. And as some of you may heard, there were originally plans to merge the MCU with the Amazing Spider-Man universe. Because of this, Marvel had plans to feature Oscorp in the city skyline in the Avengers. But because the model wasn't finished in time, this fell through. Sony was still, however, in frequent contact with Kevin Feige, who gave them notes on The Amazing Spider-Man 2 while it was in development, as the plan was they would feature Andrew in the future Avengers movies. But because Andrew failed to show up to a few meetings, he was eventually replaced with Tom Holland, and Spider-Man rebooted once again. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you're still holding out hope for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.